Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. My name is Isra Jahan. I'm the administrator and facilitator at Reset Learning. So, before we go into the session for today, which is on anxiety and ADHD and time management skills, let me just go through a little overview of what Reset Learning is all about. So, we focus on enhancing learning skills for students at different levels. And our primary focus is not just the quantity of the students we serve, but the positive impact that we have on our students' life. And also at Reset Learnings, we have different programs that is designed. So that starts with preparing them for the test preps like CELPIP, SAT, IELTS, ESL, and many more programs. We also have our own Reset program that focuses on building foundational skills on maths, English, and many more subject areas. We also provide academic support to students from grade 1 to 12. On top of that, we help students who are graduating and in high school to prepare for admissions in universities across the globe. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Mr. Pawanjot Aulakh. He is a student at UBC studying neuroscience, and he is a lifelong learner studying about brain, about the universe, and everything in between. So, he'll be the best person to speak to us about anxiety, ADHD, and anything that is related to that. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, and we will be addressing that at the end of the session. So over to you, Pawan.
Sorry about that. We're so new to this. Thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Pavan, and I'm going to be talking about navigating anxiety and ADHD, as well as some time management and organization skills for learners. So, I wanted to start off by talking about Orange Shirt Day. Every child matters, every day and everywhere. So Monday is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So I would want you to take the time out of your day to learn about the history of residential schools and what we can do to support Indigenous communities. Now, I feel like that is very important as we are also getting a day off for a National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. As well as in light of recent international events, I want you to reflect on if this world has truly learned from the past and what it would look like if we did learn from the past. So, before we begin to talk about the actual academic definitions of anxiety and ADHD, I want to watch a few videos. I feel like seeing these videos, the actual people experiencing anxiety and ADHD, is a better way for us to understand anxiety and ADHD. Before we watch the videos, I do want to mention that experiences are diverse, individual, and unique. Just because a particular individual has this experience with anxiety or ADHD does not mean that it equates to your experience or everyone's experience. And not all videos on the internet actually display what they think they're displaying. Someone might think that this particular thing is a part of their diagnosis when it really isn't. So just, be careful about those things when looking at or watching such videos. So first we're going to watch a video regarding anxiety and the songwriter who wrote a song about her experience with anxiety.
Hi, my name's Lydia, and I wrote a song about anxiety that moves so fast it's almost impossible to breathe or sing. Promise I'm fine when I'm not. See my mind spinning round and around with my thoughts on my paw. No lid and the water is bubbling, about to boil over, the temperature's doubling. Siren alarm in the night and I can't stop the noise, cause I swear there's a fire somewhere. I can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it, but what if I'm not prepared? How will I face it? If I can calm myself down, just breathe in and breathe out. Take a second, let go of control, and my mind could be free. But what if I drop the ball for just a moment? Here I pick it up, a friend or an apparent con. I just calm down.
So I highly recommend watching and listening to the whole song, and there's a music video as well that you can watch. And just the beat in the background as well, it gets the heart racing, which is also an aspect of anxiety. Next, we're gonna watch an ADHD stimulator, kind of showing you how it feels to have ADHD.
This looks so good. Oh my god, I cannot wait to eat. It's been so long since I ate. I just need my fork. Ugh, I forgot a fork. Okay, just need to grab that. Let's open the drawer, grab a fork. Okay, now it's time to eat. Let's go back. Okay, finally time to sit down. Let's eat. Finally. I actually don't have water. Okay, let's go and grab a glass. Put this down right here for now. Thank God for that hyperfixation cleaning, so I actually have glasses. All right, let's just fill that up and get on so I can get back to lunch. Looks so good. Oh, when's the last time that I watered those flowers? You know what? I'm gonna grab it. We'll put it near the sink so that I won't forget. This will be super quick. Then I can just eat my food. Let's put them down really quickly. Hot lava. And we can go right back. Yay, food time. Oh my god, yes, water. I'm so thirsty, thank God. Okay, I actually got everything done pretty quick, so now I can finally eat. Uh-oh. Where is my fork? Oh my goodness.
So just at the end there, it really highlights the frustration with having, not being able to pair your attention with what you want it to be. So next, we're just going to talk about the basic overview of anxiety and ADHD, which are more textbook definitions. So normal anxiety is having short periods of anxiety and stress that go away after the removal of a stressor. So this could be something like having anxiety only for a test only when you're going up to writing that test, and once the test is over, then that anxiety and that stress is gone. So that is normal anxiety. The anxiety that we're going to be talking about today is being constantly stressed and excessively worrying about events, whether they're real, like a test, or imagined. Something for like the imagined, an example of an imagined event is in the song, if you listen carefully, the songwriter said, I swear there's a fire somewhere, but I can't see it, taste it, smell it, etc., hear it, etc., etc. And that's more along the lines of the imagined event, when the sensory experience isn't adding up to what the brain thinks is going on. And anxiety also has a variety of physical symptoms like racing heart, shortness of breath, sweating, and muscle tension. In fact, the muscle tension is very real. A registered massage therapist or RMT can actually sense that tension in muscles of an anxious individual. And these are long-term and they're persistent even after the stressor is removed. So that was the overview of anxiety. For ADHD, it is going through a few name changes, but ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and there's 3 core symptoms. Inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Now, inattention isn't the stereotypical, there's a squirrel going on and they get distracted by a squirrel or something like that. It's more of not being able to attune the attention to what's needed in that moment. So if you're like having a conversation with a person in like a busy mall, all the different stimulus are given the same importance by the brain. The person talking at the next table, the random sounds in the mall and the food court, etc. All of them are taken at the same level by the brain, and you're just not able to fix that attention on the person that's speaking. Or there's also like activities of hyperfixations, like the person mentioned in the video, which was the reason why they had clean glasses. Hyperfixation is when too much attention is given to a particular thing. Hyperactivity and impulsivity go more into like making quick decisions, not really thinking through something properly, etc., stuff like that. There's also emotional dysregulation. So this is quick and intense responses to emotional situations where more of the impulsivity comes in and not really thinking through something properly. And next, I just wanted to give a disclaimer. I am not a professional. I am doing my undergrad degree in neuroscience, but that doesn't mean that I'm like an MD or a psychologist. So physicians and psychologists should be involved in conversations regarding these things, and cognitive behavioral therapy and medication are acceptable forms of treatment if they're required by the individual. So we're not like discrediting any of those therapies, and there is no shame in having anxiety or ADHD. With that said, I do want to mention that the information presented in these slides are from high quality resources written by individuals with PhDs in counseling, psychology, and clinical neuropsychology. So even if I'm not a professional, the information that I am presenting is from professionals. So skills to combat anxiety. Now I wanted to just make a quick mention that when we're talking about techniques, we're talking about combating anxiety and working with ADHD. Now, there's a difference between the two, and it's a very important but kind of subtle difference. You have to work with your ADHD brain and you have to combat anxiety. You have to fight the anxiety because, realistically speaking, our brain isn't made for stress. In fact, with anxiety, there's this feedback loop where the more anxious you get, there's like changes in your brain which end up causing you to react even more to stressors, which further increases your stress anxiety response, and this keeps going in this endless cycle, this endless loop. So our focus with anxiety is to break this cycle and break this loop. So a few common things for combating anxiety are breathing techniques. There's two types that I've mentioned in this presentation, but there's countless others. If you want like a full extensive list, you can like shoot me an email and I can get back to you. So there's box breathing, where you inhale, hold, exhale, hold for the same duration, kind of creating this box. So it could be like 5-second inhale, 5-second hold, 5-second exhale, 5-second hold. Or there's a 4-7-8 breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds. You just keep doing that. Next is journaling. Now, journaling is very important because it helps identify your thought process and it allows for a private release of emotions. And the first thing in trying to change something, combat something, is identifying that there is an issue and what causes that issue. So with journaling, you're able to identify like a particular thought process which is causing the issues, and you can also release your emotions privately if you don't want to talk to like a therapist or another individual. Next is positive self-talk. It's always having this optimistic voice in your head that looks on the bright side of things. Now, this doesn't just come automatically, it improves with practice. So over time, you'll get better at this. You have to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So this could be something like replacing "this is too hard" with "this will take me longer, but I will try to do my best." And just the reframing of situations with a more optimistic voice, with a more positive framework, will allow for you to combat anxiety. And lastly, we have affirmations. Now, you can just get like a standard set from the internet, or you can, which the ideal way to do this would be to identify your thought process through journaling and then use that through affirmations to try and correct that thought process. So for an example, if you identify that the issue is that you don't believe in yourself, or that you think that you can't do something because your grades have become tied to your identity, then a good affirmation for you would be to look in the mirror and tell yourself that my grades don't define me, and that I am not my grades. No matter how I do, I will be proud of myself and I won't be anxious, except something like that. So now we're going to get into ADHD, again, working with ADHD. And we're going to start off with, the same way why we did journaling. Notice patterns, be mindful of these patterns, and try to practice new responses. Now, this is very difficult. If you talk to someone with ADHD, telling them, oh, just pay attention more, try harder to pay attention more, that doesn't work. That's absolutely wrong. You're undermining their experience by saying something like that. So when you're noticing patterns, you have to see like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, why doesn't something work for you, and how you can improve that situation for it to work for you. Just not gonna get too much into that because it will get more complicated. So we're gonna move on. Using a calendar or to-do list system that works for the individual. Now, everything doesn't work for everyone. You know, someone might use a whiteboard, but that doesn't work for everyone. So you have to just use trial and error, go through every single one and see what works for you, or use a combination of them. A few examples that we've given are paper, digital, and an app that sends reminders. Now, I use all of these. I do use all of these, and I use them for different aspects of my life. I use a paper calendar and planner for my schoolwork. I use a digital one for like social activities, etc. And then I use an app that sends reminders, particularly Finch, which I've mentioned on the slide, which for things like everyday things like waking up in the morning, brushing my teeth, changing the garbage, taking the trash out, etc., stuff like that. And it just like really helps, you know, stay on track if you need that. Finch was actually advertised to me as a tool for individuals with ADHD, so I just wanted to give it a go through. No way affiliated with it at all, but I like it because it also ties to another point I'm going to make in a different slide. Next, you have to learn to prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance. Now, you can just get like a piece of paper, you know, divide it up into 4 sections and then label them as urgent and important, not urgent but important, urgent but not important, and not urgent and not important. And then you just sort the tasks into those different sections, and then you work on that. So we're gonna do a few examples because I feel like what does urgent and not important mean? So writing a paper that's due tomorrow. This would be an example of something that's urgent and important. Why? Well, it's due tomorrow and it's a paper that's due for your degree or it's due for school. So that is important and urgent. Working on a project that's due next month. Now, this would be not urgent, but it's important. Why is it not urgent? Because it's due next month, and it's important because it is for school. Something like washing dishes. This would be considered urgent, but not important. It's urgent because you don't want the dishes, you know, sitting in the sink for that long, but it's not that important because you have other things to do. You have a paper to write. And if you do delay washing the dishes, it isn't going to be that bad. Next, then we have buying a leisure book or, you know, watching a show on Netflix, something like that. And that would be considered that something that's not urgent and not important. So next, we have a few other things. Breaking tasks into smaller steps will improve satisfaction and decrease procrastination. So for an example, if you have a say project due or you have a paper due, instead of writing due paper in your to-do list or your calendar, you can break it up into smaller things. Write the introduction, do a literature review, look through resources, write an introduction, find a good title. I know that takes me a long time. Finding the right title usually takes a long time. And you can do write about this topic, write this paragraph, write the conclusion, do citations, do references, etc. And then break it up into those smaller tasks and then divide them accordingly to your timeline. That way you still have like time, you still have a buffer zone if you're not able to, you know, complete it. You can take longer, but you're still having so many tasks that you're like, okay, well, I did the introduction, good. So now you're more satisfied and you're more likely to do the next thing, and so that would decrease procrastination. Next is having a reward for completing tasks. Incentives are very important. So I talked about Finch before, which was the app, and it uses this system of rewardative incentives. So each time you like complete a task, it gives you this like explosion of confetti, and then it gives you like a little gem. And then so the point of Finch is that you have this little bird, And each time you complete a task, you get those diamonds, and then you can buy your bird clothes with it, or you can buy like different furniture to put in its tree house or whatever. And it's amazing. Absolutely love it. Not connected to it anyways, just wanted to say that again. But yeah, you can also do it for paper and digital things as well. To do that, you can use the when then rule or the pre-Mac principle. This is kind of just like an example aside is when I do blank a task, then I will have a blank reward. So an example of this could be when I finish writing my science lab report, then I will eat my Kit Kat, or it can be anything else that you enjoy. And for everything to work, you need accountability. Now, the papers that I read said that if you don't finish the task, then you don't get any reward. Now, I do think that is a bit harsh on yourself, and you shouldn't be that hard on yourself just because, not everything is in your control. But, to some level, like, know that, like, was I actually not doing the task because I was procrastinating, or was it because of some external thing? And if it was because of some external thing, then go ahead and reward yourself. Don't be that harsh on yourself. Create routines. So if you can't do something at home, find a new place. Whether this is a very quiet place, if you were distracted easily, or if it's at a library, etc. Take the time to build that routine and then stick to that routine. So it could be like, go to school first, then go to the library, and then go home, eating at particular places, etc., etc. Something that really works for you. The last thing I wanted to mention is implementation intentions. Now, this is a new thing I learned about, which is super interesting. And it said to imagine yourself doing something that you want to do first, and that will make you more likely to actually do that thing after. So for an example of this would be like you want to go to the library after your first class in the morning is over. And if you just like write it in your planner, or not write it in your planner, just think about it for a bit, and you might forget about it after the class is over, and you might just go somewhere else. But if you imagine yourself putting everything, the class ending, putting everything back into your backpack or your bag, getting up from your seat, walking through the doors of the classroom, and then walking to the library through the hallways, through the streets, turning at particular corners, etc., etc., you will be more likely to actually go to the library if you thought through all of that. Imagine yourself walking through that scenery all the way to the library, and that will increase your ability to actually do the task. And then you can honestly just apply this to any task. Imagine yourself working on a paper, imagine yourself doing the introduction, finding a title, doing research, etc., etc., and you'll be more likely to do that thing when it does come up. And yeah, so that's about it. I thought I was gonna go even longer than this, but so it's Q&A time. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. If I don't have enough information to answer your question, then please just email me your question at this email address over here, paulek@resetourlearning.com, and I will get back to you with an answer backed by research. I will put in the effort to do research. These were the references that I used for the information, and I just wanted to mention that if you're struggling with any of this, working around your anxiety, working around your ADHD, then we're here at Reset Learning to help you. All of our programs are backed by neuroscience and neuroscientific principles from resources like the ones that I used for these slides, and we will help you get through this. And yeah, so that's about it. Sorry about that. Yes. Sorry. So you can get your participation certificate at this link. So just scan that and yeah, send us an email and we'll send you your participation certificate. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to send me an email. I will write my email in the chat. So it's PAULakh@resetourlearning.com. Yeah, and you can just write me an email there and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend as well. Take care, have a great day, and hopefully you're able to work through your anxiety and ADHD. And if you aren't, if you need more help, then we're here to help you, and you can just call us or go to our website, email us at information@resetlearning.com, and we will tell you about our services and how we can modify them to accommodate you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.